All right, guys, you're on a mission with me this morning. We've got to find a clevis pin that is about 1/4 inch. That looks like that's going to be the right one right there. This is going to be for the backhoe. Lost a pin on it, and there is a 1/4 inch key. So, guess I'll grab both those. That's not too bad. Less than $6. So, what was that pin for? Well, to answer your question, this right here. One of these pins fell out during the transport, and this lever right here, which is like the boom in and out lever, will not function until I get a pin back in it. The problem is I bought a pin and actually cut it, and it's a little bit too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guard off that you see, and then I'll have to take one of these pins off to be able to reach this one. So a little bit of a process, but I should have it done here in just the next few minutes. Just hauling it down here with the tractor. I just hooked that bucket right over the box blade, and it makes it a whole lot easier to transport than having to worry about moving the legs from the front to the back and all that good stuff. So we don't have too much further to go, and we're going to be where the shed's going. So I'm going to stop right here and unload it and get ready to do some digging. So I know depth perception is not the best thing that cameras do, but basically what I did is I dropped that back level closest to that chain link fence about 2 foot, moved the dirt to the front. I've got to make a 12 by 20 pad right here for the shed to sit on. As it was, it would have took about 7 blocks on the front side over here on the low side to be able to get the shed level. I would rather the dirt be level and build a retaining wall around it just for the foundation to be a little more stable. So now I'm going to bring the little tractor in right here and do some work with it. All right, so we're changing gears a little bit. We're about to start another project. I know you're probably thinking, well, Brandon, you haven't finished the first one. And you're right, I haven't, but I have actually got to call a power company to drop a power line before we can drop the tree and continue leveling that pad. So what I'm about to do right now is, this is actually a trail down to the pond. And if you can't tell, we've had a storm that has knocked a couple of trees into the way. I'm gonna move those trees out of the way real quick. Then I've got to put my waders on for the next part. You guys are probably thinking, what in the world are you going to need waders for? Well, you'll see here shortly. Let's see if this tree is rotten enough that I can just push it on out of the way. I'm hoping that I can. I need it to break though, honestly. So if it doesn't work, then I may have to get the chainsaw out. And I didn't bring my tripod down here, so I am trying to do this one-handed, using the old left hand, trying to get the bucket in position. All right, guys, I pushed them off the bank right here for now, and that clears the trail up where I can get the tractor and the folder back and forth down through here a little easier. So just a quick tour. This was my grandparents' house. My grandmother passed away sadly several years back now, and my grandfather built this house in about the 50s. It was originally just a single room cabin right there. Our property line ends about right here, and if you turn and look, this is going to be the driveway to where our house is going to be. My aunt actually owns from here to this side over here, but on this side of the pond, this will be our driveway coming down. So we're gonna have to build a little bit of a gate, an entryway. I want to do a gate right here and make it solar where it'll operate, just because of how long the driveway is going to be. And you can kind of see the pond down there in the background. The little building that you see right here to the right was the pump house, and that's because they actually did not have city water here until the 1980s. And I'm actually thinking about going off-grid with our Barndo and rejuvenating the old pump house right here. So this is the pump house, and the spring that it's feeding from is right down there in the bottom of that holler, guys. So that's a whole nother project that we're going to probably be doing in the near future. So as you can tell, we've got a lot of work to do to get this driveway in shape. We're not going to be messing with that today. I'm going to have a bigger piece of equipment to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to go down and look at the dam on the lake, because it's kind of a pressing matter. I'm going to show you guys why. I have had a few of you ask how I like the little Mahindra tractor. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't buy a Mahindra. I'll put it that way. I would buy a Kubota, and there are about 5 or 6 things that have broken on this tractor, and it only has 237 hours on it. Some of it's been minor, some of it's been big, and one of the things that they cannot seem to resolve is the fact that the rear end leaks on this thing like crazy. I have to retighten the bolts after every time I use it, or I'm just losing the fluid out of the rear end. And so I can't even park this thing in my shop without it covering the concrete floor. It's kind of sad for this thing to be as new as it is. I think this is a 2021. You know, 3 years old and 200 hours. To have that many problems is just ridiculous in my opinion. As we make our way down here, you're going to see about 3 piers or docks that are in need of repair. That one right there is about the most solid, and it's not that solid. So again, we're just kind of following the driveway line. This is going to be where the driveway runs through at. We've got stuff scattered down here from fishing and stuff. Our family does come down here and fish. That dock or pier right there is also in bad need of repair. And the water levels are actually very, very low right now. Well, speaking of things that broke, there's one that you just heard. No, this one's not broke, but it's incredibly irritating. You got like a drive shaft guard right here. It pops loose. And no matter how much I tighten it, it just comes back off after so much vibration. Again, gotta love the Mahindra, guys. So the project we're going to be working on today for at least a few minutes is going to be taking down a couple of trees along the dam. When my grandfather built this pond 50 something, almost 60 years ago, he took red clay and filled it in along this hollow right here. And so the deepest part of the lake is on this side where the dam is, and it's about 15 to 18 foot deep. Well, we had some kind of beetles come along and get into the trees, and it has all but killed every tree along the dam. And you may think that that's not a big deal, but what will happen is those trees that you see right there are extremely dead. Is if they fall and the root ball comes up with it, we could break the dam and lose all the water that's in here. And that's the last thing that we want to do. So I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try to cut the biggest one down today with my incredibly dull chainsaw. And here's our house right here where we're going to be building and tearing down, to give you an idea of the location and the length of the driveway. So let's go over here and get set up and try to cut these trees real quick. And then, if I've got time, I'm going to throw my waders on and try to pull this one out that fell into the water. That should be fun. So this tree is dead right here. This tree's dead. This big one right here is the one that worries me. It's dead. These right here, because of this end of the lake being deeper, or pond, I don't mind dropping them into the water. This one's actually still alive. We're going to leave it be, I think. Yeah, it looks like it's still got leaves on it. And that one right there still has some leaves on it. So we'll probably leave it be. But this big one right here, it's got to go, guys. I can just see that thing taking the root ball out. Next thing you know, our lake's all down here on this end. So I don't have a very big saw blade, but I'm going to do my best to try to cut this thing today. And it is super dull, so let's see how it goes. So what did I learn today? Go buy a new bar and chain. Quit being cheap. Lord, that should have took about a third of the time that it just took to come down. So I'm not even gonna try to cut that big one. I decided to start with a small one.
But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna try to pull these out of the water real quick. So let's do that.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we got it. Pull this whole thing out and burn it. That means I can pull that other one out no problem, which is a good thing. Well, I thought I made it all the way through the year without getting stung by a wasp, and I just got hit right on my eye, guys. Oh, golly, that hurt. There's going to be, this eye's probably about to swell shut. God, that sucks. Got me right there, which means there's probably a bee's nest underneath where I just pulled that log. I've got a fire pile going. Oh, that hurts. Maybe it won't swell shut. We'll find out here in a minute. Golly, guys. My chain's over there too. I got to get my chain out. You guys probably can't see them. They're not wasps, they're yellow jackets. That explains why it didn't hurt quite as bad. I usually don't swell up as bad with a yellow jacket as I do a wasp. So I'm not too super concerned about it. I guess I'll keep going until I can't see. I think y'all can probably see where it got me now. Right there. Ouch. So this is going to be the one that requires the waders because it did fall in already. I'm going to try to hook the chain up right there. Use the bucket, hopefully lift it up and then pull it over. We'll just have to see. It's about the same size as the one we just took out of the water though, so I hope it'll come out. It has been laying there for a couple of months though, so it could be waterlogged, which means it could be very, very heavy. We're just going to have to find out. I've got the chain just weakly attached. I had to noodle underneath that log, so I'm covered in mud to get the chain snaked through it. Thankfully, it's been a little bit cool enough. I wasn't super worried about snakes. Now let's see if we can get this out of here. I don't know if we can or not. We're about to find out though. So guys, too heavy for the bucket. Just trying to pick the back end of the tractor up. Gonna try hooking the box blade to it, pulling it sideways where I don't have to lift it as high and see if I can come out right here. Yeah, that one's too heavy, guys. It's about the same size as the other one, but it's sunk in the mud and it's waterlogged, so I'm gonna have to have a bigger tractor. I am gonna have to rent a Bobcat at some point to work on this driveway and stuff, so I guess I'll just save it for then. I feel pretty defeated. Today was pretty disastrous. There was a lot of things that went wrong, but I think that's just part of construction projects and just working in general whenever it comes to land. You're trying to make the equipment that you have work, and it's not always capable for the job that you want it to be. The tractor is a micro tractor or a compact tractor, so I do put it through the ringer, but I thought for sure that it was going to be able to lift that tree out after the first tree came out so easily, but there again, I was wrong. The bees got me. I'm going to have to wait till it's not so breezy today. It's pretty breezy out to be able to burn that pile and hopefully kill that yellow jacket nest before I mess around in that area anymore. And there again, I'm just glad to be home and my eyes not completely swelled shut. So if you enjoyed today's video, be sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss our future adventures as we move forward with our homestead. And we will see you guys in the next video.